ATM episode 87. Mark Watson, not afraid to have an opinion and air that opinion about all things sport. He joins me, Martin Devlin, from the platform. Watto, we're going to be talking about, at last, some sense and sensibility from New Zealand rugby, and this is a Hurricanes directive to play their quarter and semi-final in the afternoon, and especially the semi-final this weekend, not to clash with the Warriors. I want to talk about the Warriors and the very delicate subject around SJ and RTS, and when is time for these guys, given the way that those that are replacing them are playing.
Apologise to me!
But let's start with you on Sunday on another radio network where you do your show on SENS. And I think we're probably the only two that have these jobs where we commentate and comment on sport during the week that have actually told the truth about this arrogant, disrespectful Black Caps side and its administration. And you gave it to them hard on Sunday.
Yeah, look, I did. Martin, I've just had a guts full of the power that our players have across rugby and cricket, and it's just a case now of the tail wagging the dog and how these, what I call trade unions, have been able to manage to get themselves into this position as well. You know, congratulations to those running those two organisations, but it's just a blight on both organisations, and it's just so disrespectful to us, the New Zealand public. I mean, you represent our country, you're representing all of us, and we expect people who represent this country to basically die for this country in a sporting sense, to want to give everything. And, you know, and then we've got the Black Caps who have no preparation for a World Cup. So they go in here believing that this mantra of, oh, we're a tiny island nation at the bottom of the world who boxes above our weight. And it's almost like they think that that's still going to get them across the line, that they don't actually need to do any training. You've got a coach, Gary Stead, coming out and saying, oh, you know, they've had this arduous 8 weeks at the IPL and we've got to get the balance right between them going and seeing their family and the performance side of it. I mean, the arduous 8 weeks, what, minimum players earning $300,000 in that 8 weeks? I think the maximum is around about $3 million in that 8-week period, all staying in 5-star hotels.
Living with their families, Mark. That's the other thing. Their families are with them, okay? So, you know, this holiday with the families is just a crock, is what it is. It's a charm offensive from New Zealand cricket to say they went on holiday and they couldn't be asked turning up on time.
Yeah, and the other thing is too, mate, I'm surprised that, you know, we haven't had the default setting of mental health come in as well, which is always that sort of get out of jail statement that seems to be made these days to sort of keep the media at bay. One of the worst performances we've ever seen from a Black Caps team against Minnows Afghanistan. Now, they're not a bad side. T20 cricket's quite fickle. We've seen that with some of the other results. And look, the Black Caps could still pull this out. They could still, because of the nature of T20 cricket, we could have people phoning us in 4 weeks going, you don't know what you're talking about, you're doom and gloom merchants. But the bigger issue here is that this is not the first time. I mean, you go back to the 3-test series in England a couple of years ago where Kane Williamson turns up 2 days before the first test after having played IPL and a number of our fast bowlers. And then we get beaten in the series 3-0. You know, we don't get many opportunities to play England in 3 tests. We don't get many opportunities to play the big countries in 3 tests. We keep asking for it, but we actually haven't done enough to prove ourselves to actually say, you know, we're worthy opponents. And we do it because we're just not hungry enough. Martin, you would have heard me say a lot of times that the greatest ingredient any athlete can have is passion and desire. I mean, you've got to have some talent. But the only way you test that's adversity. There's no adversity for any of these guys.
No, there's not. I mean, look, okay, they get paid. And let's add Sophie Devine to this as well, because the New Zealand women's captain couldn't be asked training with her teammates. She was in Perth when they were training for that England series in New Zealand. Both of these teams are seriously underperforming. They have all the resources available to them. They get pampered. They get loved. They get smoke blown up their backsides. Gary Stead said last week they were having centre pitch preparation. Not a day-night match, not a warm-up match, because some of them had jet lag. I agree with you totally, mate. It is disrespectful. And as anti as it is, I'm hoping that they get their A's booted out of this tournament. I think that they need the humiliation of losing another couple of games and come back with their tail between their legs. It won't actually do anything. It won't do anything because these players' egos are so bloody big.
Martin, if I'm running the game, you make a choice. Because I've said this, the only reason you get an IPL contract is because of what you've done for playing for New Zealand. So it's ironically, isn't it? You get this wonderful audition playing for New Zealand, and then once you get sort of the money, you suddenly turn your back on the very thing that actually provided the opportunity in the first place.
Okay, well, let's point the finger at the guy that it should be pointed at here, Mark. Okay, let's get... And there's a new CEO of New Zealand cricket Scott Wienik. Where is he? He's done a Mark Robinson, mate. He's invisible. Where is he? Apart from swanning around corporate boxes in the West Indies, where is he? And why won't anyone from this administration actually stand up to these guys and actually do the right thing? Which is, listen, if you don't want to play for your country, that's fine. We would rather that you did because you're the most talented players. But as a fan, as an administrator, what I want to show to the rest of the country is that it is meaningful. You made a point to me the other day, mate. Sorry to interrupt, but you made a point to me the other day that we've got an Olympic Games coming up in Paris. We've got rowers, we've got swimmers, we've got track and field athletes. And you listen to them talk. They bust a gut every day for our country to wear that black singlet, to put that silver fern on. Most of them get stuff all money. Most of the administrators at Sport New Zealand earn 5 times what these guys get paid. And yet the desire that you're talking about, that is long gone from this black cap side, mate. You listen to Kane Williamson after Afghanistan, reminded me of when we got dicked in that Chapel Hadley one-day series in Australia a couple of years ago when it was played up north, remember? It was shameful. And that's the same. We'll take the learnings. They played better than us. No, Kane, they didn't. You guys were pathetic because you never actually prepared properly for the tournament.
Look, Martin, you know me. I mean, I know those other sports very well. I mean, I do a lot of work for New Zealand rowing. I work with a lot of former Olympic guys. And, I'm often asked for my experience, and I've covered a lot of sports internationally, a lot. And I'll always say the 2 hardest sports, in my opinion, are swimming and rowing. Rowing, I still put swimming as the number one because you've got to train basically. Look, give you an example, and I'm very mindful of it, and it's been driven by her. My daughter's 12. Yesterday morning, she swam from 5:30 till 7 with the North Shore Swim Squad. Then she went back yesterday afternoon and swam from 4 till 6. She did a 10K, basically 10K in the pool, and she's 12. Okay, she woke up this morning and went at 5:30 again. She's got water polo tonight. Now, we all grew up, we've all played cricket. When I was in swim squads chasing the triathlon dream, I had former national swim coaches coaching us, and they said, look, if you guys want to muck around, go and play cricket, because that's how it's very much perceived. And as you mentioned, I mean, our rowers, there's no money in it. And what I think that does, it actually just weans those out that are serious from not serious. When there's no money, you play because you want to play for your country. You want to go and represent your country at the highest level. You want to go to the Olympic Games. And it can be heartbreaking. I know swimmers missing out by 1/10 of a second on qualifying and have spent their entire life chasing it. And then we've got a bunch of these prima donnas, mate, who honestly have been told how arduous their life can be. But it's the same across rugby as well. Then you take the women's versions of the game. We can't do this unless we're getting paid the same as men, unless we're full time. And everybody sort of buys into this mentality in this political environment in which we live. And at the end of the day, if I'm running cricket, it's a simple choice. You play for us, the priority's for us. We do everything we can to try and win. Everything else is secondary. If you don't like that, don't play. We'll pick the next group of players. But the problem is, Martin, now we've got this trade union. Could you imagine saying this to the current crop of players? The Players Association would then say to any other player, well, we're all going on strike.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, of course they would.
If you broke ranks because you just wanted to play for your country, you'd be labelled a scab.
But look, this is all part of the problem also is because, Heath Mills gets handsomely paid to be that guy as well, like Rob Nichol does, mate. And so they've all got their noses in the trough, and their number one priority is protecting their little bit of patch. How did you react to this on Sunday? Did you give it the apologise to me? Did you give it the too damn hard?
Yeah, no. Look, I went hard, mate, and I was very emotional in it, and I just, it got into the higher octaves, Martin.
Good. So the old Watto came back. The old Watto.
I said they're an absolute, utter damn disgrace. I've had a guts full. And I said it last week, and I genuinely mean it, man. We all need to do it at times, but go to some of those war memorials in Europe and go to places like Gallipoli and look at the young men and look at what ultimate sacrifices and
sacrifices and holding a cricket bat, living a 5-star lifestyle.
Apologise to me!